It's gonna start.
TG Sambo Intel Classic.
We got a lot of cheers in the audience tonight. Well, once again, I think I might need to get a confirmation about who's actually who, since my Korean is far from good. I might have one of our Gum TV guys come over here and confirm to me as to who, which Terran is mine and which Terran is Flash. Okay, Flash is the purple Terran at the bottom left. And that would make mine the orange Terran at the top right. So we got a one-on-one map. I believe it's the only one-on-one map in the tournament. So we could see some interesting rushes. We could see a very long, drawn-out game. Flash, again, at the bottom left. Mine at the top right. So Depot right next to the command center so that he can get the SCV right back to the minerals as fast as possible. Look at that. You can really see that Flash is really forcing himself to concentrate. Mine probably feeling very confident. There are a lot of different techniques players use to try to get themselves to calm down at the start of the game. It's very difficult after you lose a game to try to organize yourself and start over again, knowing that you're already behind. Both players now scouting. Looks like Flash actually checked for some proxy barracks. Taking a peek at that middle left area. And look at this. Looks like mine's going to be going for the fast command center this time. I'm curious as to how effective it'll be. A little bit of an SCV brawl by the command center. Meet me by the CC. It's going down. Only one SCV in the refinery, so we might see an early command center for Flash in response to this. One thing about rushing a player who gets the early command center is that if the rush doesn't work, then you're almost bound to lose. And look at this. Here we can see Mind is actually moving his SCV around to block off the possibility of a new command center being planted here. And look at that micro. The more time it takes for Flash to get that command center up, the more behind he is going to be. And now he has finally managed to get the command center up. There we can see we're also sponsored by the TG Sambo Intel Classic. That's what it's called if you're in Korea and you're watching this. If you're not Korean, it's the Avertech Intel Classic. True story, guys. Factory being produced for mine. Oh, no, excuse me. Very logically, Flash's factory is actually going to get up before mine's will. It seems that transferring 4 to 5 SCVs when you fast command center is the correct number in Terran versus Terran. Take note of that if you're still trying to learn Terran. Flash is forcing mine to make 2 Marines rather than 1. Maybe so that somewhere along the line that'll hurt him in the count of 1 SCV. And now, as we can see, Flash is transferring his SCVs at the very second that the command center finishes. Second factory getting thrown up. 3 factories actually for Flash. 1 factory for Mind. I'm interested in seeing how Mind will play this out. If Mind will get the star port or maybe 2 starports and tuck to wraiths. I don't know. But it's going to be very critical that we see that soon. Flash, of course, a member of the infamous StarCraft team KTF, with such big names as Kong Min, also known as Nal Ra. Double port for Mind. There's a lot of different ways this game could go for now. Here comes a vulture, stopped by one of Mind's vultures. If Flash gets the add-on, this could be very bad news. Excuse me, when I say add-on, I meant the armory. This could be very difficult for Mind to recover from. Vulture Bike's now picking off that scouting SCV. So unfortunately for Mind, he will not get a glimpse into how many factories his opponent's going for. He may assume that there's just still another starport hidden somewhere in that base. I'm wondering if Mind is going to hide these wraiths and possibly do a kind of surprise wraith attack, although Flash has to be aware that there certainly is not a lot of mechanical units. They're guarding this expansion. Uh-oh. Not many times you get to see a bunch of vultures actually take out a tank, but this is going to be one of those times, and this means that Flash could very easily move into his base, and actually this game could end very quickly if he does not have the army there to kind of defend that. And excuse me, no, he does have one tank, but it looks like these vultures are going to regroup. Meanwhile, wraiths are getting cloaked, and they're going to take out this tank right now. Here they come. He could upgrade mines very soon. And now picking off all of these SCVs, they're going to have to pull back. Wraith there to defend, but that's probably not going to be enough. But I think Flash could win this game pretty easily now, for sure. Picking off more and more SCVs, making this fast Expo not so effective. 4 vultures on the way, and 1 wraith. Wow, as you can see the difference in between a wraith harassing SCV and a vulture harassing SCV. A big difference. And now he's planting mines. Mines are going to be planted right next to the factory, and indeed they will be planted right next to that factory. This is going to be awful. Just absolutely awful for Mind when the tank comes out. And he does have Goliath, so it will be very easy to pick off that wraith. I believe Cloak should be finished, though, by now. But so should Flash's scanners. Mind is probably going to try to reorganize himself, regroup, and try to recover. Although he will not be able to rebuild his factories very quickly now that he lost his barracks. I'm pretty sure Flash is going to galvanize himself for another attack very soon. Uh-oh. Good thing tanks react fast. He seemed to be in shock right now. That was close. So, we can see that Mind is starting to move out a little bit. He might try to throw up another command center. I'm not sure how wise that would be, though, because he doesn't have enough SCVs, I think, to support that. But he's going to have to do something. It doesn't look like going for a ton of wraiths right now is going to be the very effective way to move forward in this game. Especially not when your opponent's getting that many Goliaths. Note that Flash is going to expand to the location that does have another Vespian gas geyser. That'll help him in producing mech units. Armory halfway done for our Terran friend, Mind. If he can get a few siege tanks in that critical area, that small valley, he could stop mining that expansion again. Note that he's being very careful with those wraiths to get out of there as fast as possible. Wraiths could come over here and take out that expansion pretty easily. Even as badass as the Goliath is against wraiths, he could harass that expansion or even just take out the SCVs we see here and That's going to stifle Flash's economy a little bit. There's a lot of tension over here at the middle right side of the map with Flash's army and, Mine's army. Both right next to each other. Dropship out. We have not gotten a chance to see if Flash is actually going to get a Stargate next. I would assume soon enough, though. And he's going to get 2 Stargates in a very hidden location. Possibly to mass up his own wraiths. Because Mind is a little bit behind on the factory count, he may only be making tanks. Which would mean that all of a sudden, a bunch of wraiths would come out of nowhere and surprise the hell out of Mind. Now we can also see the Flash is making a few turrets here and there around the map to cut off any dropship sneaky stuff. That's the technical word for it, dropship sneaky stuff. Flash does have that economical advantage, and he is indeed going to be going for a kind of surprise wraith move here, which I think will be very effective against Mind, who has already been crippled severely in his SCV count and his factory count. It looks like Flash does have enough to deal with all of these tanks over here at the ridge. He's going to move up here now. A few more of Mind's tanks are coming in from behind to try to slow this down, and Mind has actually held off a surprising amount of these units, and that could have been a bit of a blunder for Flash. He could also be attempting to pressure his opponent into making more tanks, so that the Wraith surprise attack is in fact very effective. So finally, Mind is managing to get up another expansion over here at the bottom right. And it looks like Mind's going to have to back off from this abrupt siege tank setup. Mind does have the high ground, so it's very difficult to fully engage that. I think very soon here, though, you can see those are the We Made Fox coaches. The coaches of Mind himself. Mind is attempting to sneak out of here, but it's to no avail. Trying to gain some type of ground. Here comes the surprise Wraith attack. Taking off that one Wraith. Now, all of a sudden, Mind's tanks are going to be very, very vulnerable. And this could be very, very bad. Very bad news for Mind. Losing a few tanks. Although this was not entirely as effective as I had thought it would be. It looks like Mind started making Goliaths anyways. However, these raids are proving to be a bit effective, harassing a few SCVs. Note that Flash has now gotten an expansion at the top center and is now pumping dropships from those starports. Whoa, that was close. I'm curious as to when Mind is going to start using those dropships. Or if he's simply going to use them defensively to try to bum rush overextended siege lines in his territory. And it looks like we may be seeing the first offensive move by Mind very soon here. Now look at this, Flash expanding at the top middle and at the bottom middle. And as we can see, the dropships are now on the move. It looks like Flash may be somewhat prepared for this, but it's hard to say. Here he comes now. There's a turret making it, but it's not going to get done in time. Siege tank setting up now. And it looks like, in fact, Flash will be prepared for this, as here come SCV tanks and Goliaths down here, taking out all of these well, taking out the 3 tanks and 2 Goliaths that still remain. An ineffective drop with his left Mind even further behind this game, since he was brutalized by those vulture bikes early on. It snuck one siege tank over here at the bottom middle, and that's going to make mining a little bit more difficult, but I'm starting to wonder if Mind is trying to get ahead of himself a little bit. Granted, he is so far behind, he doesn't really have that many methods he can use to catch up. Clearly, Flash controls the center of the map, and even more clearly, Flash has the economic advantage right now. Remember, Flash was already down one game. If he wins this, they're going to be tied again. And we got at least, we'll have at least 2 more games, possibly 3 more games, before we find out who actually wins this. Flash may go for a procedure where he attempts to starve his opponent. Because he does have both of these expansions, he can just kind of take the map and very slowly but surely overcome his opponent over time, as he deflects every other attack that Mind has. There's no real good place for Mind to attack either. He could attack that bottom middle spot, but I think that might be a feeble attempt. He does at least have siege tanks there that can prevent it from mining. And Mind has to at least keep that position there at the bottom middle. I'm curious as to what exactly Flash is going to do to try to deal with this abrupt position that Mind has over his workers at that expansion. More dropships being produced. More factories being produced. Flash feeling very comfortable. He may have those dropships moving back and forth just in case Mind happens to scan them. It may look more like he's actually moving them to some specific location, and then this may confuse Mind and force Mind to move his army into a location that is in fact completely and totally unnecessary. Flash is continuing to upgrade in macro like hell. I'm fairly certain he's almost maxed. And we now see that it's going to enter a phase where we'll see some battle cruisers as the Terran Physics Lab is being added on to the Terran Science Facility. So this indeed will be a very drawn-out game of epic proportions. However, I'm fairly certain that Flash 2 is also going to get battle cruisers pretty soon here. Battle cruisers, the StarCraft Space Cow, the unit that is rarely used, can actually be very effective in Terran versus Terran late game. The Yamato gun can be great for picking off stray turrets and groups, and as well as siege tanks and other things. And here we see a drop right now over at the expansion of Mind. I presume he's dropping here because he suddenly scanned the battle cruisers being produced. And this is going to be bad news. I don't know what he's doing with these dropships, though. He cannot afford to lose that many dropships. And wow, he's putting a lot of tanks over here. This is a critical location, and it will cut off any units escaping, or at least attempting to get out of the main production point of Mind's base. Taking out the command center. +1 attack, +1 attack for both players, actually. And you will no longer be able to utilize that Vespian gas geyser. And I do believe that was a wise location to drop, probably the most effective spot he could drop. More dropships being pumped out as Flash rather sloppily lost a lot of his units. Well, not a lot of his units, a lot of his dropships. 2 battlecruisers out, but it's going to be hard to pump more battlecruisers since that gas geyser is no longer there. And Mind, as time passes, is getting pushed farther and farther farther back against the right side of the map. And it looks like now Mind has decided he needs to break out like a caged beast. He has exploded at the bottom middle side of the map. And here comes Flash's response with his own army to take out all these tanks in beast mode. And this has turned out to be a failed attack on the behalf of Mind. Bad news. And it looks like with that happening, now Flash could very easily secure that expansion. A major blunder by Mind. As now we can see the Flash's army will proceed to push Mind even farther back against the wall. And here we go. A good game. Well played by both players, but Flash really had that advantage once those Vultures took out all those SCVs, and then it just started to pick up from there. We're going to take a quick break here. And after that, we're going to have 3 straight games in a row. This is the GOM TV 2008 StarCraft Avertech Intel Classic. And it has really turned out to be a major success. I hope you all are enjoying it. Flash and Mind are both tied 1-1. The winner will take home $10,000. So sit tight and stay tuned.